Howdy everyone. I'm back to working on the Walnut Shatter Bowl. I've got it mostly hollowed and sanded. There's a bit more sanding to do still. It's getting pretty thin. I think we're going to be okay. We'll keep going. Hope for the best. So I had a few screw holes here from faceplate mounting that I unfortunately exposed. So I filled those with CA glue and resin. They might need a little bit more work, but not too bad. I'll give you a preview of how that looks. So the shatter pattern is starting to show through. I need to do a bit more work to expose it just a little bit more. So a little more sanding on the inside, but before I make the bowl too thin, I wanted to put it in the chuck this way and finish the outside. So I'll do a little more sanding out here, clean it up, and finish it. And then we'll spin it around and do the same to the inside and bring it home. So let's go ahead and mount it up this way and work on the outside. By the way, if you're enjoying these videos, please feel free to subscribe to the channel. That will help you out. You'll know when my posts happen, and it also helps me out, and I appreciate that. So if you find value, please subscribe. Let's get to turning the outside of this, shall we? So I've sanded this up to 400. I fixed a couple of small imperfections in the resin using some UV resin. And because this is a mixture of resin and wood, I'm going to go ahead and sand it, wet sand it up to at least 1,000 grit. And then take it through some polishing steps to really perfectly smooth this resin. The wood wouldn't really need that, but with the resin in here, I really need to do that. So that's what I'll be working on next. At this point, I was really struggling to get rid of the last few tool marks and scratch marks from sanding, and so I decided to resort to my random orbital sander, which I've never used on a piece on the lathe before, but it actually worked fabulously well on the wood, at least on the wood portion. It left some swirl marks on the resin, but the wood came out really fantastic, so I was happy with that, and then I could just work on the resin once I got the tool marks out of the wood. So yeah, give this a try sometime. Worked well for me. point, after cleaning it all up with some denatured alcohol, I found some more scratch marks in that big area of blue resin there that I wasn't happy with, so I went back to some sanding pads with the drill and another round, a full round of sanding, wet sanding. At this point, the outside is ready for some finish, and I'm using Watco Danish oil. Given that I wet sanded, it's possible that using oil over the top of the wet wood wasn't a great idea. You might be able to see a little bit of fogging of the oil there, I'm not sure. In the end, it came out fine, but in the future I might wait till that bowl is fully dry and then start adding the finish. Here's another tip. A lot of the time I'm sanding using mesh sandpaper, Velcro backed sandpaper that is designed for my random orbital sander. That's what I'm using here. But I've mounted it onto a Velcro attachment on my hand drill. That leaves the edges of the sanding paper smooth and flexible. It's what I had on hand. That was going to work well. So I've actually found that to work really well. So there's a tip for you. There were a few small air bubbles in some of the resin, and plus I'm finishing up fixing of the screw holes from the faceplate. I'm doing that with CA glue and some wood dust. I decided to go with Watco Danish oil on the inside, and that's what I'm applying here. I also added some to the outside, and adding a healthy dose of it on the first application to make sure that it really soaks in. And you do that before wiping it off. Usually let that soak in for about 15 minutes, and then I use a clean rag to wipe that off.